Hey everyone, it's Types, and we're currently a pretty good way into the mega era of the Pokemon TCG, and it's really interesting to take a look at this era, right? Because it didn't actually start at the beginning of a year, it started halfway through, and it's going to be interesting to see how this era progresses. But I figured today would be an awesome time to take a look at the mega era and compare it to the Scarlet and Violet era to this point and decide which one is better. Obviously, that's subjective, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section on this, but I just want to take a look through the first four sets, including mini sets. So that would be Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames, Ascended Heroes, and then also, we're not looking at Chaos Rising here today. We are looking at Perfect Order. I will say I'm looking at Pokemon Proxies. Pokemon Proxies doesn't have all the cards from Perfect Order. Specifically, it doesn't have the I don't know what I'm looking for, but it's the Mega Gallade EX. Wait, that's not here, is it? Yeah, no, that's not here. But for the most part, it has the important cards. And this is the expansion. What's it translated as? It's translated as nothing. But it's like Nullifying Zero, Annihil Zero, or something like that. This is the Japanese expansion here, making up Perfect Order. A little different. You got 88 cards in Perfect Order, 80 cards in the Japanese expansion. But wanted to mention that before we hopped into things. But that is three main expansions. We got Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames, and Perfect Order. And then we also have the mini expansion, or the special expansion, Ascended Heroes, which is actually a lot bigger than Phantasmal Flames or any of the other sets. But anyways, then we have the Scarlet and Violet era sets, which are Scarlet and Violet, the base set, Pele Evolved, Obsidian Flames, and 151. So we have one special set in there, a different special set. 151's, a little unique. It is also interesting because after 151, they introduced the paradox mechanic, or the paradox Pokemon, the future and ancient like mechanics or whatever. So there is some difference between this division. It's not just some random division, though obviously it is, the current what we know about the current Mega era. That's how much are going into the Scarlet and Violet era. But anyways, let's just hop right in, taking a look at the, we'll go set by set, I guess, comparing them to each other. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but I think it's a decent way to do it, especially with the base sets. So Scarlet and Violet base set versus Mega Evolution base set, they are both base sets, right? So they highlight the new mechanic, the Mega era highlights the Mega mechanic, and the Scarlet and Violet era highlights the EX mechanic. They're both kind of retreads of old mechanics. It's a little weird, and I'm not diving into the EX stuff today, or ever, probably. It's like kind of annoying and doesn't matter. But the Scarlet and Violet era obviously has the EXs, and there are some pretty good ones. I will say, obviously, the Mega era, we're currently in it. I guess we're also like, I mean, all the cards of Scarlet and Violet era are legal and standard as well. Obviously, some are about to rotate, but we have a pretty good idea of how good most of the Scarlet and Violet era cards are. We're not like, as sure as to how good the Mega era cards are, and presumably there are going to be some good ones after the Scarlet and Violet era cards rotate, right? But anyways, with Mega Evolution, we have 10 Megas. With Scarlet and Violet, I actually don't know how many EXs there are on this set. There might be, no, there's more than one of every type. So there's a little more, except for Dragon. There's not Dragon. But, we have a good amount of EXs in the set. Ultimately, the EXs are okay. I guess it also highlights the Terra mechanic. Like, technically, it introduces that. That was not really a thing in this set, or to be honest, too much of a thing for the first year of the Scarlet and Violet era. But, yeah, I don't think any of the Terra cards in the set matter, but you see that there are some EXs, and notably Gardevoir EX, very, very powerful. I'm interested in hearing where people would rank it as a Pokemon in the, like, out of all the Pokemon in Standard, where they rank it. I'd rank it card 2 or Pokemon 2, 3, 4, somewhere in that range. I think it's like very, very good. After that, you got like Miraidon EX, which is like fine, and yep, I guess Bayonet's fine. I mean, they're not like the other cards aren't all bad, but they're not particularly good. And then yeah, that's mostly what you're looking at for Pokemon from the set. I don't think there are any others that are super good. I mean, there's some other ones that are certainly fine. There's some that are more situational, like something like, say, Klefki is a pretty decent Pokemon. Hawlucha is like, he's playing a very good deck, but Hawlucha itself is kind of meh. Skwovet, kind of techie. Revavroom is kind of not consistent for an engine. And yeah, you got some silly stuff like Wugtrio, but for the most part, Gardevoir EX is the highlighting Pokemon of the set. Looking at Mega Evolution, the Megas, there aren't any regular EX in the set, by the way, but the Megas, you got Mega Kangaskhan EX, which is pretty solid, or pretty good. Mega Absol EX is like fine. Honestly, most of the Megas in the set are like in that realm of kind of fine. I'd say they're a little better than... No, I'd say actually they're probably on par with Miraidon EX, maybe a little weaker than Miraidon EX. but on that caliber, certainly nothing close to Gardevoir EX. I'd say Mega Kangaskhan EX is better than. Is it even better than Miraidon? I'm not sure. Overall, I'd say the Megas, and I've said this about the Megas a lot when they were being revealed, that they're kind of meh. Meh, not being bad, but not being super good, just, meh. And so I'd say they, like, I guess, do a fine job of introducing the Megas, but it's nothing spectacular. And I think, what do you think of or when you think of like any cards or like any set, you think of like the top cards from that set, right? So the cards that are like, Mega Absol or Mega Kangaskhan, which are like decent cards, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, they're pretty solid, but they're no Gardevoir, right? They're not like top 10 cards of the game. So Mega Evolution in that regard is kind of underwhelming. Looking at other Pokemon from Mega Evolution, you got Meganium, which is okay. Um, I guess I'll mention Cinderace. I really like that card. You've got obviously Alakazam here. Alakazam is good. I guess I'll also mention Ralts, which goes with the other Gardevoir or with the Gardevoir EX, not the Mega, which is kind of funny. It's funny how that like kind of lines up. But obviously Alakazam's like decent. Lunatone is super good as well. Lunatone is really an amazing Pokemon. And yeah, I mean that's a lot better than like I guess Revroom is pretty comparable to it in the sense of their engine Pokemon from the first set that you discard energies to draw cards. So they're like I mean, Lunatone's a lot better, but they have similarities there. So I wanted to mention that. But overall, I'd say the Pokemon are comparable. With Scarlet and Violet just having the best, but then Mega Evolution having a lot of pretty decent cards there. Looking at the trainers, this is the more interesting thing to look at in terms of how good the sets are. And I will talk about how interesting the cards are as well. But we have the trainers that kind of set the block up. We got Boss here, we got Lilies, we got Rare Candy, we got Ultra Ball, we've got I guess Mega Signal. I don't know. I don't know if I include Mega Signal in there. I guess you got Repel as well, and then I don't know. The main ones. Oh, Switch. I didn't say that one as well. But the main ones are going to be Boss and Lilies, as well as Ultra Ball. And those are good cards. Looking at the Scarlet and Violet era, we have more though. I'd say, um, obviously you got Research, which is very good. You also have Ultra Ball and you have Nest Ball. So I guess those are the main three, as well as Candy. But you have stuff like Palpad and just more trainers here. Oh, Arvin as well. I missed Arvin because it was too close to the colors Pokemon, I guess. But yeah, so Arvin, Research, Ultra Ball, Nest Ball are all really good. Overall, I would say the selection here from Scarlet and Violet, I mean, it just has more trainers, right? That is good. And a lot of the trainers for Mega Evolution are not true staples, like Fighting Gong, Premium Power Pro, Force of Vitality, Iron Defender, Strange Timepiece, and a few others. They're like type specific. Some of them are pretty good. They aren't all good. I didn't just name ones that were like good, or name the best of them. But there are some good cards in there, but all those are type specific. So ultimately, this is a big difference from the Mega Evolution era to the Scarlet, or from I guess the Mega era has more type-specific stuff, unlike the Scarlet and Violet era, which has less type-specific stuff. Contrary to what my name might suggest on the 10 Types YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to, subscribe to it. It's fun. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of too specific support, specifically type-specific support, because a card like Fighting Gong, it's like I'd rather just see Nest Ball back, being like a more overall consistent card to help out a lot of decks, and like Fighting Gong, which I guess allows them to tune a type. For example, I've made a bunch of videos recently and throughout my channel's history or recent history talking about the fighting type with a really powerful support, including stuff like Fighting Gong and Premium Power Pro. And then the relatively underwhelming Pokemon. For example, Mega Lucario EX, not a particularly bad card. I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, it's not super bad, but it's certainly not like amazing either. And so, you're looking at a lot of cards like that with the Mega Evolution era, which is interesting, but we'll see what happens, when some of the better Pokemon from the Scarlet and Violet era rotate out. But ultimately, I think the sets are somewhat comparable. The Scarlet and Violet is just a bit better than Mega Evolution. I would say it's a bit more interesting, but I would say the selection of Pokemon from Mega Evolution might be more interesting in terms of what they do. In terms of, like, say, abilities, which are pretty important, they're pretty tame, both of them, though I would say that Scarlet and Violet era is a little more interesting, but they are the first sets as well. We need to spend probably the most time on these sets because they are the foundation of the rest of the eras. Oh, I guess I should say I'm not talking about obviously the energies or the promos, so I'll mention that there. But yeah, so They are the foundation. That being said, you see other interesting stuff from the other sets. So we got Pele Evolved and Phantasmal Flames. These are the second sets here. Pele Evolved has a lot more cards than Phantasmal Flames. Honestly, Phantasmal Flames is a pretty weak set. I mean, it just doesn't have that many good cards. Like, does it have any good cards? Um, I don't remember. What's the best card from Phantasmal Flames? Is it? I mean, Dawn's okay. Battle Cage is fine. Mega Lopunny EX is like a pretty good mega, and there's some like Toxtricity is fine. You know, there's some like all right cards in the set, but it is pretty boring. To be honest, Paldea Evolved isn't super good either. With one exception. But we'll look at the Pokemon first. Obviously, we still have the Megas featured in Phantasmal Flames and the EXs featured in Paldea Evolved here. We do have regular EXs in this set as well, including Oricorio EX, which does highlight Megas, which is kind of fun. I guess Mega Dancy EX is also like good. I don't know. I mean, it's like a fine card or like a decent card in a good situation. So I don't know exactly where to rank it, but it's probably one of the top 5 megas, right? But then we got Pele Evolved. You have some kind of whatever EXs here. I will say, I didn't say this actually, but the Scarlet and Violet era obviously corresponds to the Scarlet and Violet video games introducing a new generation of Pokemon. So with that, you see that like we got like the legendaries getting EXs with Miraidon EX and Koraidon EX, and we see the starters getting EXs with Skeletor's Meowscarada and Quaquaval. There we go. I remembered it. I mean, it's literally right in front of me. But the good water Pokemon from the set was Baxcalibur with Chimpow EX, which was like a decent deck. I guess it's underrated now. I don't know. I mean, it's not like super good. But yeah, that deck was the thing for a little while. There was even Ting Lu EX. But ultimately, the Pokemon I don't think were super. I mean, Squawkville EX is really good. Definitely one of the best Pokemon in Standard as well, in my opinion. I might say it's this is probably like a top 10 Pokemon, probably not top 5, but it's very good, and it was definitely top 5. It was definitely number 2, or even number 1. It was probably the best Pokemon in the game for a little while. But ultimately, this set is kind of meh in terms of Pokemon. Visquaquille EX is very good. But then you look at the trainers, and oh yeah, Artisan was in the set, and you have Iono, you have Boss Orders, and you have some recovery as well. Super Rod and Superior Energy Retrieval. Super Rod, I guess, was very good. It's okay now. Obviously, Night Stretcher, a very, very good card, which I'd say is just like noticeably better than Super Rod. Like Super Rod is, I don't know. I mean, it gets more stuff, but it gets into your deck. Sometimes it can be better to get into the deck, but most of the time it's not better. Oh, there are some like other special energies in the set which are like fine. I guess all 4 of them have seen legitimate play. Therapeutic energy is it's not a good card, but it has seen play. Which is kind of weird. Like, you know, sometimes people talk about cards that are, or I talk about cards that aren't good but see play. Therapeutic Energy is the perfect example of this. It's a card that's a color special energy, and then it says that Pokemon this card is attached to can't be affected by sleep, confusion, or paralysis. This is used, or this was used for. Oh, actually, it's been played a little recently to counter Monkey Dory, which is like niche, right? But it was used for Snorlax to stop getting put to sleep by your own attack, I think. And then in the Lugia deck, it was like a thing. There wasn't really much downside to it, but there was pretty minimal upside as well. It was like kind of a nothing card in the deck, to be honest. But anyways, I wanted to mention that there because it's funny. Another card that's funny is Choice Belt. It doesn't like do anything. I mean, it kind of does something. Um, it did something when it came out, but it wasn't new when it came out. So essentially, it didn't do anything. But anyways, that's for another video, which I think I've talked about in the past. But yeah, I guess you have something like Noivern EX, which is actually probably better than any of the EXs in this set. I do think Oricorio EX could be really good in the future. That's definitely for another video. I made that in the past about Mega Heatran. But yeah, that'll be if and when that comes, that'll be something to talk about, but it's not out yet. So actually, now Noivern's worse than Mega Dancy. But yeah, there aren't really good cards in Phantasmal Flames, which is pretty disappointing. I feel like Phantasmal Flames is a really underwhelming set. So let's look at the no, let's look at the main set. So we'll look at the 2 main sets, which will be Perfect Order, as well as where is it? As well as Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames is interesting. Obviously, you have Charizard EX, which is like the card, the highlighting card there. I will, I guess, say that Phantasmal Flames and Obsidian Flames could, I guess, be compared. I mean, they're both flames, like something like Darkness Flames or something, focused around Charizard and Darkness. So I will say that they have some similarities there. So maybe I should have compared those two to each other. I was just like going in order here. But Obsidian Flames, we've got Charizard DX. Obviously, a very good card. Also highlighting the Terra mechanic to the best of any Pokemon to this point, which isn't that high of a bar, but it definitely like surpasses. I mean, all the other ones are kind of nothing, right? And Charizard DX, I think, is the when you think of Terras, you probably don't think of Charizard. You probably think of like something that you play with Noctowl. Well, I guess you could play Noctowl with Charizard, but like a basic Terra, like the Ogerpons or like probably like Water Ogerpon, Trapagos, maybe something like Flareon, and I'd probably think of Dragapult before Charizard as well. Although Dragapult probably doesn't highlight the Terra mechanic as well as Charizard because it doesn't change types. But anyways, Charizard is the premier Pokemon to change types though in the TCG, so that's like cool. I guess. But then we have Pidgeot EX as well, which pairs with it. And yeah, that's about it for the Pokemon. I'm pretty sure from this set. Again, tell me in the comment section if I miss something. I'm just like skimming through, and I'm just like thinking about all the cards. I'm like, I love to hype up cards. I get very excited for new cards, and there's a lot of cards here that I talked up that were not very good. But yeah. Then you have the trainers and the trainers. I guess Arven is like good, but that doesn't really count because it's not new to this set. So figured to mention that, but that's not really going for it. And then there's like what Town Store. I guess I will mention as well that the Scarlet and Violet era introduced a tool change. So there are some cards to highlight that. I was mostly talking about highlighting the EXs and the Megas and stuff, but the tool thing is like something. I don't know. It was like a little bit of a big deal when it happened. In terms of actual gameplay change, it like hardly matters, but yeah. Except for like Arven and Town Store, which are or specifically Arven, which is like clearly intended to push the tool change. It doesn't really matter that much though. But then Fantastical or no, then Perfect Order. This is interesting. Obviously, we haven't played with it internationally, though it is out in Japan. And okay, at the set we have some fun Pokemon. What's good? Maybe Mega Starmie EX that was looking good at a point, but it isn't looking amazing now. And then Barbarico looks all right, but like not amazing. There have been some cards on that power level that I've just skipped over. Yes, there is Mega Zygarde EX, though I really don't think that will be good. And Mega Skarmory EX is okay. And then Meowth EX. And Meowth EX is very good. This is a card I'd say is probably most comparable to Squawkabilly EX, which I've actually compared quite a lot. They're not really that similar, but they're both colorless with similar HP, and the one's rotating as the other's coming out. So that's why I've compared them a lot. But ultimately, yeah, that's a good card. And then there's Pokepad, I guess I'll mention. Pokepad isn't new to the set, it's new to Ascended Heroes, but we haven't talked about Ascended Heroes yet. And then there's the special energies, which are, Telepath, Psychic Energy. It's good. I don't know. Telepath, Psychic Energy certainly isn't better than Luminous, Reversal, and Jet put together. Actually, is it? Actually, it might be. I don't know. I'm like Jet's biggest hater, by the way. If you like didn't know, I don't think that card is good. But there's some other fun trainers. There's some like all right cards in this set. It's definitely fine. I would say it's a little better than Obsidian Flames and a little more interesting. Obviously, we see more type specific stuff as well with Jakith, Tarragon, and the special energies here. Which, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of because they create more limited gameplay and deck building options there. Moving on to the final set though, which is the special sets here. We have Ascended Heroes featuring a lot of reprints. Most special sets have a lot of reprints. 151 does not. Ascended Heroes also has cards like Badoo, which I'm not going to count because it didn't get reprinted. I was going to say it didn't get reprinted with a new regulation mark, but it wouldn't have anyways. But it's a card in the Scarlet and Violet era there. I suppose if you want to include that, then that would definitely make the Mega era a lot more impressive. But I don't really think that's a fair way to judge it. But you could also say that like it's at the end of the year. Okay, it's technically not at the end of the year. It's at the end of the year in Japan. It's not the end of the year internationally. But it's like reprinted cards that came out earlier that year, which is like interesting. But I don't know. I don't count Psyduck as an Ascended Heroes card. Like I don't know. Tell me in the comment section your thoughts on that one. That's definitely something that impacts things quite a bit here. But you have, some EXs, but most of them aren't, or a lot of EXs, but most of them aren't very good. Ascended Heroes has really, I think, just one good card that's like particularly good, which is Pokepad. Pokepad lets you search for any Pokemon without a rule box. It's a really good item search card, which really makes up for the lack of like Nest Ball here. Ultimately, the trainer package still is going to be a bit better. It's Scarlet and Violet though, which I think a good trainer package is important to be, the foundation of interesting metagame. There have been times when the trainer package has been pretty bad. For example, the end of the Sun and Moon era, the GX era, I believe the trainer package was pretty bad. And I would say that was bad. It kind of limited decks and made them more, know if generic's the right word, but like, they had to play. I mean, there was more search for GXs and tag teams, kind of like how there's Mega Signal and Terra Orb, except those had to be more focal points of decks. I mean, you had to play like these multi-prize decks even more. People, like single prize decks and things like that will hurt them. Having more search is going to be good for those. It's good for all decks, but having search that doesn't help them but helps other decks is obviously going to be better for the decks it helps than the decks it doesn't help. Also, oh yeah, I forgot this set is like just a mess to look through, isn't it? um, because of the way it's organized. It's a cool set. It's a really cool set. It's also not a very good set. But Mew EX is good, right? Mew EX is good. Also, random complaint. I imagine a lot of people have this issue. If actually anyone knows the answer or the fix to this issue, because if you're searching for cards on Limitless or in like other similar databases, you search Mew. So the set symbol is Mew, by the way, if you didn't know. If you search for like a Mew card, then all the cards from 151 come up, and it's like a big pain, right? Because there's more than 151 of them, 151 or more than 151 unique ones because there's trainers as well. So ultimately, this set though it isn't super good. I mean, there's some like okay cards, like yes, but like not that good, right? Ultimately, though, Ascended Heroes also isn't super good, and I'd overall say that the Scarlet and Violet era has been better than the Mega era to this point. Also, I don't know, people don't really like three prizers. People got like really concerned about them when they were announced. To be honest, okay, so like I get things wrong, right? But I do get things right as well. I get things right, and I was right that the Megas weren't like game breaking. They have been, I'd say they've been like underwhelming to this point. So anyways, did want to mention that the Megas have been fine, though I don't think they've been super interesting. I was like gonna talk about abilities. There aren't that many interesting abilities on the Megas though, like really at all. I guess there's Mega Venusaurs, and there's also uh nothing else. I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to think in my head. I guess I can look. It's not that hard to look because I can actually search Mega. You can't search Mega for the old Megas, but you can search Mega for the new Megas. So do any of these have abilities that are cool? No. Maybe Mega Gengar, maybe Mega Dragonite. I guess maybe Mega Hawlucha. I would not say it's cool, and I wouldn't say it's good. And I definitely don't like it, so I'm not counting that. But it's pretty underwhelming there. Versus looking at the EXs, you got stuff like Squawkabilly EX, Mew EX, Gardevoir EX, Miraidon EX, Pidgeot EX, which is just like a bit more interesting there. So I'd like to see more interesting abilities on the Megas and on the regular EXs. I mean, we do have Meowth EX as well. And so that's pretty cool. I guess there's a Decidueye EX as well with like a cool ability on a Mega. Or wait, that's not a Mega. That's on an EX, but that's from the Mega era. But ultimately, I do think the Scarlet and Violet era has been a little more interesting in terms of card design, highlighting mechanics like the tool mechanic being highlighted. There's the TMs, which aren't in this era, but obviously they came out pretty soon after. But we'll see what happens with this year in the Mega era. I imagine this year will all be the Mega era, and that's it. I don't know. Tell me in the comments what your thoughts are on that as well. I'm not super familiar with what's happening with Gen 10 as well. That definitely has a lot to do with it. But anyways, tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on the Mega era versus the Scarlet and Violet era. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.